The Golden Rule is such a beautiful focal point for our work at Euphrates Institute. I love how it's the standard for all religions, for ethics, for how we treat each other. I have such an amazing example I always think of when I think about the beauty of the Golden Rule. I was traveling in the West Bank with a friend, a lady who had never been to Palestinian territories before, to Israel, and had certain preconceived notions about Palestinians and Arabs. And we were lost one day in our rental car roaming around. It was nighttime and we were trying to find our way back to Jerusalem. We were lost around Ramallah, and I pulled up to a gas station and started talking to the young Palestinian boy there who was the attendant and asking him directions for how to reach the checkpoint. And he hopped in the car in the back seat next to this lady, and she was like, oh, and he said, okay, I'll take you there. And I said, are you sure? You know, I know you're working and you can just tell us, you don't need to come with us. And he said, no problem. And so we're driving and driving and driving, and 20 minutes, 30, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how is he ever going to get back to work? Where are we going? The lady in the back seat was first so freaked out in a way, and yet started to engage in conversation, was asking me questions to ask him, wanting to hear about his life. It was her first real deep encounter with a Palestinian. And as we finally neared the checkpoint, and he said, okay, just go there and I'll hop out here. And I said, please take this money to get a cab home. And of course he refused it. And he said, I wouldn't dream of that. You know, I know you would do the same for me in your country. And I'm thinking, I don't know, not everyone in the US would take in a young Arab man or foreigner if they were lost and drive completely out of their way. And so the lady in the back seat said to tell me, you be sure to tell him that his mother did such a good job raising him. What a wonderful young man. But you know, that is our experiences we have throughout the Middle East. Just that incredible hospitality. That to me symbolizes the Golden Rule. You know, he was doing unto others what he would have them do unto him, that he expected that generosity and that hospitality, and in turn he so expressed that beautifully to others. So I love that as an example and as a model that we can have all of our interactions strive to be just that fearless open-heartedness in seeing the other as a brother, no matter what ethnicity or religion or nationality, and treating them that way, treating them as brothers. And that's our mission here, is to see the other as a brother, and it's just a wonderful story of that.
And in India, Holi is a very big deal, and people celebrate um, colors. They celebrate the triumph of good over evil. But there has never been an emphasis throughout history about decision making, which is non-violent, decision making, which is about peaceful alternatives. When we talk about compassion and in changing the way we treat other people, and that being something of a ripple effect, that being something we're committed to, maybe we could individually look at our own histories, like look at the history of our communities and build on the case for peace. Like, we don't just talk about peace, we just don't make vague statements. We actually show examples of how there are peaceful alternatives, and they have been way more successful, that has made communities more prosperous, that have actually helped future generations. Like, there have been more sustainable solutions, businesses have flourished. So we show the alternative picture, we show the other side, rewriting history from a problem solver's perspective. We all know the problems, we don't know the answers. You can look at yourself as an advocate for peace. Tomorrow from Euphrates Kolkata, we are going on a synagogue walk with the president of the synagogues in Kolkata, and they had and the Jews in Kolkata are actually thinking of setting up a museum tracing the history of the community in Kolkata, so that they're more visible, and not just more visible, their contributions and the way they have actually been a gift to the society is actually showcased. That would be an interesting thing which the world needs right now. This is what I think.
The issue of the Golden Rule is very important in the world, and there is the more important thing that had is the source of understanding and really making peace in the world. If we can really treat ourselves, treat others as we treat ourselves, and be very fair to ourselves, I believe that we'll have a better place and a better world to live. And we are human, regardless of the color, regardless of the affiliation we have, regardless of the connection we have, economic background, we all are equal. But what is really dividing the world is that the position, whenever certain individual find a certain position, they disregard other people about the possession they have or the position they have, they disregard other people and engage in things or push would make for a community and people to be divided. And that's where we really, the delivery is very important. It needs to be explained to people the way you treat yourself, the way you love yourself is how you will be able to love other people. Because God himself that made the world, he said, if you love me, love my people. It means that if you love God, you have to love people because God loves us all. So if we can love others as we love ourselves, then of course, I think we will not have violence, we will not have war, we will not have discrimination. We need to push the golden rules in our community of the Bible, of which God says love each other as you are. Love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So I'm very happy with that topic with you. And we thank you very much, and we shall see you. Thank you very much.
So I'm Pamela Greiner Moulton from St. Louis, Missouri. I've been real involved in working with the unrest in St. Louis with civil rights, the Ferguson issue, and am in Community Gospel Choir of St. Louis, which has the purpose of bringing unity through diversity, breaking down economic, racial, cultural, religious barriers through song and unity and diversity. And so we went, this exhibit that's at our History Museum, it's been running for a year, it's ending, and it's really highlighting the important role that St. Louis that has within the civil rights. So this whole exhibit is wonderful. It was put together by a local curator of all the importance of St. Louis, including the four Supreme Court cases that we know about. We went as a choir together to this. Had kind of one of our members is PhD, teaches sociology across the river, and she led then a discussion about having difficult conversations. The other thing is our community gospel choir, there's 60 members, and it's working to be more and more diverse. It's probably 40% of color at this point. And we're just doing more and more, deliberate things and reaching out into the community. And one of my friends has started a book group, so we're reading a book about, race, and then going to have discussions. I think as far as the community golden rule, I think one of the things that we need to keep being reminded of when I watch the passion and the frustration being voiced is to make sure that there is a sense of respect. We have to be able to ask questions. We have to be able to have a platform where we can get up and not be condemning people if they have a different view. Let's listen better. And so
when we follow the principle of tolerance, then we can be successful. I think the main basic golden rule to be successful in our life is the tolerance and the acceptance to another human body as a human being. So these two things, tolerance and acceptance to other human being as a human being, are the main golden rules that we should follow in our life. We did a seminar on International Women's Day on 8 March in Islamabad. We did a seminar on women, and we invited the most uh, prominent and great panel of women to discuss their stories and share their stories of lives and their experiences, and the problems they have in the society. So it was the great session and discussions about the yeah, but the purpose of the seminar was to just to pay tribute to the women of the in the world that are doing a great job while running a family and the whole system. So the seminar was great, and
I'm so struck right now and just like realizing how, I mean, how stuck we are in the nationality that we belong to and the country that we belong to. And that has significant power, that has a lot of beauty, you know, belonging to a specific country, but it has a lot of limits. And I was talking to someone yesterday who is studying biology, and it's just amazing like what you can learn from nature. And he was giving the example, he said that he had just seen a map of birds migrating, and how, you know, when we look outside and we see these birds, we have no idea where they've been, but they could have just been coming from like some South American country, and here they are, and they're just like sitting on our little trees, and we just appreciate their presence, and they contribute to the beauty of our surroundings, and just their sweet presence brings so much peace. And as he was saying this, I thought, wow, that is such a beautiful lesson to learn from nature, that when these birds come, we don't ask, oh, where are you coming from? Are you like, which country did you just migrate from? We just are like, wow, thank you so much for like providing beauty and peace to my community. Like, we just so appreciate your presence. Like, we don't say that to them, but we just kind of subconsciously appreciate that. And he was also telling me that in biology, they are like, when they look at a map, it's not a map made up of countries. It's a map where you just see like the ecosystem. You see the world as like one large ecosystem. And I so appreciated that model in my thought, because here we are and we're seeing like all these kind of artificial boundaries of countries, but biologists just see the world as functioning as one whole and are not concerned about like countries. They're just concerned about like everything as part of that, as part of the globe, you know, that we are all in this together and that we enrich each other's experience. Like, to keep in thought that model of the bird and a different map in our head, I think just kind of like sets our thought free to explore possibilities.